Welcome everybody to another episode of the USO MVP, that is Military Virtual Programming. My name is Chris Jacobs and I'm honored to be your host wherever you are joining us from. I hope that you are safe and healthy and happy. And if I said wax on, wax off to you, would you know what I'm talking about? If you do, you're obviously a fan of the Karate Kid and the subsequent TV show Cobra Kai. It is my pleasure to welcome our guests today, the executive producers of Cobra Kai, Josh Shield, John Hurwitz, and Hayden Schlossberg. Gentlemen, welcome to all of you. How you guys doing?
Hello, everyone. We're excited to be speaking with you today. To all the members of the U.S. military out there, we'd like to thank you for your bravery and your service. We appreciate everything you do.
And let's welcome in the two actors that we just saw there, Ralph Macchio and Yuji Okamoto. Guys, please join us.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Ralph and Yuji, I want to ask you a question right off the bat. Why is it important for you guys to join us today on the MVP series and participate in entertaining our troops?
Well, listen, it's an opportunity to reach out, to connect, to say thank you, to send our love and support to the troops, and sort of talk a little bit about our show and have the opportunity to hopefully bring some smiles to faces, because we know the great work that's being done.
Yuji, how about you?
First of all, hi, Sai, everybody in Okinawa. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of this. It's such an honor. The USO does so much for the military. The support programs you guys provide are so invaluable. You keep the troops connected with the most important part of their lives, and that's their ohana, their family. For me, that is huge, and that's just part of what you do. I can't think of a better way to spend my time than to spend it with the heroes who serve our country. Thank you so much, USO, and thank you to the troops who keep us safe.
Well said, Yuji. Thank you for that. Ralph and Yuji, guys, how does it feel to receive so much critical acclaim and also fan appreciation from around the world? I mean, this series is just an absolute hit.
Well, it's exceeded expectations. I always felt, walking in these shoes for decades upon decades upon decades, that there was that sort of fandom and fan love for this movie franchise, and to see it be embraced in this way in every corner of the world and supported, and sort of has that element of nostalgia, but yet due to John, Josh, and Hayden's great vision and all the collaborators that come together to make Cobra Kai, we now have broadened that even further and into multi-generations and multi-ethnicities and many languages. It's the cherry on top. It's the cake and eat it too. We are the chosen ones, and I will pass it to Chosen from here.
Nice segue. No, it is awesome. I'm just a small part of this Cobra Kai world, and but I tell you, I'm so blessed just to be part of this. I just want to thank the guys for bringing back Chosen to have some closure to this character. But I'm so happy for the Cobra Kai family, for all the success that they have, and hopefully it'll just keep continuing.
And question for Josh, John, and Hayden. Of course, these Okinawa characters come from Karate Kid 2. What was your inspiration for writing these characters into the storyline for the third season?
We love all.
We tend to look at this is what happens when we don't.
You go, Josh. You go
talk at a time. We look at the whole Karate Kid universe. Really, those first three movies, even not even the Hilary Swank one, but also the next Karate Kid, as any movie that Mr. Miyagi touched, in terms of his presence being felt, whether on screen and with our case, off screen, except for flashbacks and creative license from time to time in terms of filling in some blanks. But that we don't distinguish between Karate Kid 1, 2, 3, 4 in terms of where the story is going. It's all just kind of things that happened in the backstory of the characters that we're writing for now. So that might mean that we're pulling something from, you know, the third movie in the same sentence or in the same episode where we're pulling an experience from the first or second movie. But that trip, that journey that Daniel and Mr. Miyagi took in that second movie was so magical for us. You know, as kids, it was the first time we were experiencing a little bit of that culture, as you know, we were rather young and less worldly in our suburban New Jersey environs. So it was just kind of an eye-opening experience for us, and it would have felt inauthentic and a massive loss for our series if we weren't able to, you know, start to revisit some of those storylines in the present day.
Aiden, John, you want to add to that?
Yeah, no, I would just say that, you know, we all loved The Karate Kid 2. We all fell in love with Kumiko, and we all feared Chosen. You know, he was a scary, scary dude. And, you know, to bring those characters back and bring Daniel LaRusso back to that part of the world, and for the first time to actually film in Okinawa was a special thing, because in Karate Kid 2, they filmed in Hawaii. So it was a really special experience for all of us. Working with Tamlin and Yuji was amazing, and their performances were huge highlights of not only season 3 but the series overall.
Well, guys, talk a little bit about that, Ralph and Yuji. Shooting in Okinawa, as John was talking about, versus shooting in Hawaii must have been a really cool experience for you, especially because that is where Mr. Miyagi hails from.
Right. Yeah, it was a big win for the production, the series, and certainly personally for me. The guys and Sony Television were, you know, figured out a way to get us over to the other side of the planet. As John would always say to me, I mean, we have to get Daniel LaRusso to Okinawa. I mean, it's ridiculous Daniel LaRusso hasn't been in Okinawa. And Daniel LaRusso meaning Ralph Macchio, I guess, and because our lines blur. But it was so special to me to be there with Yuji. Obviously, Pat Morita no longer with us, and such a big part of the Karate Kid universe, and Cobra Kai as well. And you know, so keeping that legacy sort of present and feeling that, and we felt that when we were there. I felt that in those scenes. I felt Pat's presence and Miyagi's presence in those scenes with Yuji and with Tamlin as well. And that was, you know, that's like other layers and levels of relevance and importance and sort of spirit of why we're all here and making this show that is touching so many people and from so many different angles.
Yuji, what was your experience like in Okinawa?
Yeah, it was incredible. The thought of even filming in Okinawa was probably the furthest thing in my mind. When we shot that first scene, it was at the Matabaru observation deck. It literally gave me goosebumps. Not only was it an incredible shot, but you know, it added so much to the scene that could probably have never been captured on a set in Atlanta. I think the biggest coup is the fact that Okinawa was the birthplace of Goju-ryu karate, which the Miyagi-Do style was based upon. So to me, it was just a really special experience.
Really cool. Guys, we have several live locations that we're going to be going to during our session. And the first one is ready right now. This is Kinser Elementary School. We've got some students there who would love to ask you guys some questions. How you doing? Welcome.
Hi, good morning. Ohio gozaimasu.
Hi all.
Welcome to Kinser Elementary School. I'm Miss AJ Arden, and I loved you and my cousin Vinny too. Okay, so got to give some shout outs this morning. Okay, so welcome to our school. We have just over 200 students. I am the information specialist, AKA librarian for our school. And we are the only school that is right on the water. So welcome to Kinser Seaside School. And here are some of our fabulous students. Just so excited to see you all. Thanks.
All right, who's first? Introduce yourself and what's your question?
She's coming.
Hello, welcome.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
What's your name? What's your question?
My name is Tohira Burba, and my question is, where did you film in Okinawa?
Oh, well, Yuji, you just mentioned one of. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
it was the Matabaru observation deck. That was where we had that first initial meeting and talk. And then we went to the Daiseki Rinzan, which is part of the Yambaru National Park, I believe, where they had all the banyan trees and ferns.
Yeah.
That's where we had the scene where I walked down with him and we exchanged the scroll. And we got a chance to go to Naha.
Yes, we did have a chance to go to Naha.
I think you shot other places that I didn't.
Well, just a little bit. I mean, we did some driving shots and scenes like that, but those two locations that Yuji mentions were the main locations. We had virtually only 2 days there, and one of them was a beautiful sunny day. This picture behind me, if you could see, was on the day, and that's Miyagi Island out there somewhere, right? And
I got it right here.
there we go. Yes. And then the next day, the weather was less cooperative, but still beautiful. You know, it was just wonderful to experience the island and have a piece of that in our show. It was a big win.
And we got a beautiful shot of Daniel coming down an escalator in the airport, which is a must-see location in any city. We go to the we film the escalators.
Thank you very much for your question. Appreciate you. Who's next? Please step up, introduce yourself, and ask your question. Hello.
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 Madison Cobra. My question is, why did you decide to make another film where Johnny and Daniel are adults?
Why? Well, maybe I guess one of the guys, one of the three creators, could jump in, and I could piggyback that.
Well, I'll just say, you know, when we were your age, we were huge fans of The Karate Kid. It was one of our favorite movies, and you know, Johnny Lawrence with his blonde hair and that Cobra Kai black gi was very scary to us as kids. And then as we got older, we were very curious, you know, what that character was like. And we became writers and directors, and we thought, hey, you know what if we found out, like, what happens to those bad kids and bullies from your school? You know, usually things don't turn out well for them. And then maybe later in life, you know, suddenly Johnny is not in a good place, and he's the underdog. And Daniel, meanwhile, went on to bigger and better things, and the roles get reversed, and we suddenly just got into the story, and we're like, oh, we could bring the Karate Kid back, and that was sort of the original idea.
Yeah, and I'd been, you know, over the years, I would get people, writers, people in the movie business saying, well, how could we do this again? How could we bring these characters back? And there was never an idea that seemed fresh, and there was never an idea that didn't seem like it would pale in comparison to the original concept. Where when John, Josh, and Hayden came with this idea, it took me a little while to digest it all. But at the end of the day, it was a smart and unique way back into that world that seemed to have the opportunity to work 34 years later. And boy, were we all right, at least to this point. It's been great.
So far, so good. Thank you very much for your question. We appreciate you. Who's next with a question for the panel?
My name is Ursanubi, and my question is, how long did it take you to learn karate?
What was that again?
How long did it take you to learn karate?
I'm still learning. I don't think, for me, I don't know if it will ever be over. It's just like anything. It's never done. It's only abandoned. You can keep nurturing and honing your craft. I certainly got into it when I first started with the movies, and then I didn't keep it up as much, and I am paying for it a little bit now. but working very hard season after season to get better and better. Yuji?
Wow. I took karate back in 72, 74. That's 1972 and 1974. It's a long time ago. But my style that I studied was Chitoryu, so I took it for a couple of years, and yeah, took some judo in college. As far as how long did it take me to learn? I mean, it's one of those things where you continue to learn and continue to evolve. So it's a matter of keeping it up. You have to stay with it. I started training again, so I can stay in shape, and you know, it's an ongoing process, and you never stop learning. So that's what's important about continuing with not only karate but also with education. You keep learning.
Thank you for your question. I know we have a couple more there at Kinzer Elementary School. What's up, buddy? What's your name and what's your question?
My name is Christian Hampshire. What inspired you to do Karate Kid and made you want to make Cobra Kai?
For me, what inspired me to do Karate Kid is first I got the part. That was one piece of inspiration. And working with our director, John Avildsen, who directed that movie. He did a big movie at that time before then called Rocky that was very big.
That's the school bell. Last store.
Underscore.
Just playing you off, Ralph.
Yes.
Nope, everybody, class, remain in your seats. We're not done yet.
So I was inspired by the creators of the original film and working with Pat Morita as Mr. Miyagi and William Zabka and Elizabeth Shue and all the great actors I got to work with. And Cobra Kai, it was about reconnecting and extending this story, finding new ways to pay homage to what we did at the, back in making the films, and then carry that forward. And it's great to see the younger generations and students like yourselves sort of embrace this show and then learn even more about the movie and keep that legacy up in the air. So that is highly inspirational to me right now.
Thanks for your question, pal. We appreciate it. I think we have one more there at Kinzer.
Hi, my name is Christopher Lee, and why did you decide to bring back Chosen from Karate Kid 2?
I mean, first off, I love the Ohio State Buckeyes, so you're winning me over right away. I'm a hardcore Cleveland Browns fan, so I'm liking you already. But ultimately, I mean, I said before that when we were kids, we loved Johnny Lawrence, or not loved, we feared Johnny Lawrence when we watched The Karate Kid. When we saw The Karate Kid Part 2, it was Chosen was the new bad guy. And he was even worse than Johnny. He seemed like he had even more skill. And so he was just one of our favorite characters from The Karate Kid Part 2, and thought about him for years. And so when we had the opportunity to get Cobra Kai made, we were really hopeful that we'd have a couple seasons to be able to reintroduce that character to the world.
And we wanted to show, a character who was a bit rough when he was young and, did some bad things, and that, somebody like that may have a chance to redeem themselves and change their lives for the better and become a better person in time. And, collaborating with Yuji on the character and really digging deep was so much fun. And, we know that fans really enjoyed watching Chosen evolve from the boy that he was to a better man later in life.
Thanks to everybody there at Kinzer Elementary School. We appreciate you guys participating.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. We hope you guys enjoyed that.
Thank you.
Josh, John and Hayden, you guys mentioned, you were wondering what happens to Johnny later in life. I got to say, the montage in the very first episode when Johnny is driving around the valley, reminiscing about the tournament as he sips out of the bottle is worth the price of admission. I think I've watched that scene 100 times. Amazing.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you.
Kudos on that.
That was the very last thing we shot in season 1. We were all sitting on the back of a truck dragging the car, watching Billy do that with, I think it was Hayden on the walkie-talkie into the car saying, take a sip, clench the wheel, look out, shake your head. All those little things. It was
Straight out of like Rocky.
midnight in Ventura Boulevard.
All right, going to go to our second live location right now. We're going to go to Katina High School. How you guys doing? Welcome.
Hey.
Ohio from Kadena High School. My name is Chris Kwiatek. I'm the principal. We're located on Kadena Air Base. And I want to thank you guys for the opportunity and turn it over to our students who are really excited to get to know you a little bit better. Thank you.
Who's first with a question? Step on up, introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Gracelyn Melton, and I was born in Okinawa. And as a young adult, I was wondering, is it possible to be successful in the film and or screenwriting industry without any college education? If yes, how difficult would that be?
That's a great question. John, Hayden and I went to college, but none of us went to college for screenwriting or filmmaking at all. With very few exceptions, we didn't really have any classes in that because there were very few offered at the time, and we were pursuing other endeavors. And screenwriting and filmmaking in general was so far off for us, even living on the East Coast of the United States. I can imagine it feels far off, living in Okinawa in terms of, Hollywood is way over there. But really, it's something that you can learn. You can teach yourself. You can read, you can read a ton of screenplays. You can read a lot of books about how movies are made, how to write a television play. And you can really start at the ground floor and immerse yourself in the business in terms of surround yourself with education, in hands-on, whether it's an internship, whether it's, working in the mail room or as an assistant at, a place that doesn't pay you much money, but you're learning a lot of hands-on experience in terms of how things are done. And pretty quickly you look around and figure out that a lot of other people don't really know, what they're doing either. And you're all just kind of learning a little bit at a time. And over the course of, months, weeks, years, you suddenly realize you're getting better, you're getting stronger, you're whichever version of your craft you're pursuing, whether it's acting, writing, producing, you learn from your mistakes. So I would say you do not need a college education in screenwriting or filmmaking to be a screenwriter or a filmmaker.
Hayden or John, you want to add to that?
I would just say that, if you're not going to college, that you'd still, reading and writing is very important. Whether you want to be a screenwriter or even if you want to be a visual director, you have to communicate. You have to learn how to talk to people. You have to, know how to do that. And the best way to do that is through, reading, writing, watching movies, TV shows, if that's the thing that you want to do. And ultimately, you have to have experiences, right from your own experience. That's the most important thing, is to be able to draw from something in your own life or your own imagination that people would be interested in. And, from there, it's about, just motivating yourself and, kind of Cobra Kai style, striking first. And, even if it's scary, try to get that job interview or to write that script or whatever you got to do. And also, you got a movie studio right here on your phone now. So
that's true. Great advice there. Thank you, Hayden. What's our next question there at Kadena High School?
Hello, I'm Ariana Henson, and I was wondering, what are some challenges you faced when you were filming the series?
What, repeat that question?
Challenges that you faced when shooting the series.
Well, listen, we operate on a pretty quick schedule, and these three wonderful writers here write more and more bigger and expansive scenes and fights, and so we some of the challenge is keeping up with what's on the page. Somehow we always deliver it, and it gets as the season goes on, we wind up having to catch up more and more and make sure we deliver what's in the frame, what's in the camera frame. That's all anyone sees. No one knows everything else that goes on. So it's challenging to maintain consistency from the acting side and from the physical side as well. And we're all driven to that, and we have a great full ensemble of a cast, and a very young cast as well, which inspires us not as young cast members to stay up to the pace, and the reward that keeps driving us forward is how well received it is and how we also just enjoy working together. It's a dream team. It really is. And everyone who comes in and out of the show, whether it's Yuji or Tamlin or other cast members from the original Karate Kid films and new cast members that are created in the writer's room going forward, everyone comes into this show, at least from my perspective, with a tremendous sense of pride, and they don't take it for granted, and that's quite rewarding. So that makes the challenges a bit easier.
Producers, any challenges on the production side?
Oh yeah, I mean, I just continuing with what Ralph was saying. I mean, we have big imaginations. We have such love for the original films that we want to create this big sort of cinematic vision on our show, and we don't necessarily have the budget to pull that off at times. So there's a lot of times where we don't get everything we need in a day, and we find ourselves shooting 2 full units per day, which means that, Hayden and I are on one set directing a bunch of scenes with, Ralph over there, and Josh may be on another set directing with Billy and some other actors, and you're filming, the show in multiple locations at the same time because you have so much to do. The other great challenge is just weather in general. We started shooting this season. We're in the middle of shooting season 4 right now. And when we started, it was, near the end of January in Atlanta, Georgia, and it's freezing cold and it's raining. And we're trying to make a show that feels like it's in sunny Southern California. So, we're out there bundled up, and then the actors have to, take off their heavy jackets and take off their, face masks, obviously in this particular time, and quickly shoot and not shiver too much while we're filming outside in Mr. Miyagi's backyard. But, these are tough days, but we all band together and do the best that we can. And we've been thrilled that to this point, people have enjoyed what we've done, and we've been able to pull it off somehow.
Great question there. Is there another one there from Kadena High School?
Hi, I'm Sarah Goonley from Plain City, Utah. And my question is, what was difficult or challenging about filming in the island of Okinawa?
Well, Ralph and Yuji probably, that last scene that they shot together, with that mountain behind it, it's a beautiful picturesque location. But as we drove to the location, it was pouring rain, as I know some of you all know. There's some pretty big storms there at times, and it was just torrential rain. And it got to the point where I told one of our production assistants, we need to get umbrellas and maybe shoot the scene with Daniel and Chosen both having umbrellas in the scene because it was so ridiculously rainy. Luckily, maybe a little bit of Miyagi magic, I don't know, the rain kind of stopped. There's still like a drizzle, and if you watch that scene, you'll see the leaves blowing in the background, and maybe a little bit of that the hair is a little bit wet there. That's why, because it was raining like cats and dogs.
But and also the wind, it was literally blowing sideways. And the funny thing about it is when we were doing Yuji's, not the funny thing about it, but just the interesting thing about it. When we were doing Yuji's close-ups, I swear the wind stopped and went around him. And when they didn't mind close-ups, the wind was less friendly. But somehow, once again, we edit it. It comes together. You add the music. The performances are strong. Yuji is just so wonderful in that scene. All that stuff goes away, and you're in the eyes of these two guys and their history together, and the sort of growth that they have as two characters, and how one informs the other. Each informs the other. All of a sudden, the weather becomes secondary. But we thought for sure there was no way we were going to get that scene. Once again, we figure it out somehow.
Ralph, that's the next lesson, by the way.
Yeah, how to stop the wind.
How to move that wind.
How to have the wind move around you. I think we have time for 2 more questions there. Who's next?
Hello, I'm Ada Mason, and my question is, Mr. Machio, did you do most or all of your stunts yourself? And if so, what was the most challenging stunt to do?
I've done, back when I did the Karate Kid film, I did all the fight scenes. There was, one stunt when I get kicked down the hill there that I let someone else do that role. And but for the most part, and even in Cobra Kai, as much as we can do, we try to do. It's the most challenging. There's a couple of kicks, and there was a kick in season 2 on the beach fight that I really worked hard at. There's some stuff coming up in season 4 that we're shooting right now that we've just shot that really took an enormous amount of work. But I'm proud to say I was able to do it pretty much all myself. It gets tougher as I get older, but you just anything that's obviously not safe. There's a scene in the 2nd season where Daniel gets kicked into a flat screen television. I chose to let someone else do that.
Time for one more question there, Kadena. Who's got it for us?
I'm Diana Dinwalker, and my question is, what was the most difficult technical challenge you faced while creating Cobra Kai?
The most difficult technical challenge, just on an ongoing basis, is every time we hand in a script, line producer who is in charge of production and figuring out how we are going to spread our resources across the season. He loves to say to us, you've written a lovely season finale here, and it might be episode 2. So we have very big dreams in terms of how much story, how many characters, how big the set pieces are, how big the fights are, and all of those aspects really put a strain on the production. There's only so many hours in a day. So really just technically, it's making sure that all of your departments that you're working with really care about the show to the degree that we do. And I'm glad to say that they do. We work with just an amazing crew. It's about 200 people who show up to make this show. And if they just were looking at their watch and saying, when's lunch, it wouldn't be the Cobra Kai series that and hopefully are enjoying. It really is people who want to go the extra mile. And when we write, something, they want to, live up to it or even exceed, what we wrote and make it better. And that goes to our production design, our stunt department, hair and makeup, everyone just, really comes together to kind of make something that feels unachievable, more achievable. And, the closer we get to that, we are able to deliver a version of what we've written for our pie in the sky, money is no object script, and then you deliver something that actually money is an object, but we came pretty close.
Great question, great answer there. Kadena High School, we really appreciate you guys joining us here on the MVP series. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Guys, going to check in with our next live location right now, and that is the USO office in Yokota. Guys, if you would turn your camera on and join us. Hello, how you doing?
Good morning. How are you guys all the way from USO Yokota in Japan? My name is Marty, and I'm the center manager here, and we're so excited to have you all. As an 80s baby, love the 80s montage musics and stuff that you guys are happening, so thank you so much for that. USO Yokota is very special. We house the 374th Air Force Wing, but we have service members from all walks of life. And today we have very enthusiastic fans. These guys know everything about all the shows, so we have the questions ready for you guys, but thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. I'll start you guys off with my first question.
Thank you.
You guys very much for joining us. Hello, what's your name and what's your question?
Hi, I'm Tempest. Obviously, big Cobra Kai fan. Definitely more of a strike hard, strike first, no mercy kind of gal. But appreciate the Miyagi-Do. Appreciate it. But my question is, after playing these characters over a span of so many years, how do you really build that character development and make these characters relevant to these younger generations?
I mean, it's, you know, that's a question kind of for all of us. I said, from my perspective, you know, what's nice about the difference with Cobra Kai from the original Karate Kid is the Karate Kid story was very black and white. It was good over evil. You know, the Miyagi-Do was good, the Cobra Kai bad. In Cobra Kai, your allegiance can change character to character, episode to episode, sometimes scene to scene, sometimes within the same scene. And those gray areas and colors and complexities of character are what distinguishes Cobra Kai, and but never losing sight of the homage and the embrace and the respect of the Karate Kid, because without all of that, we're not here. So, I mean, that's some of the things that I find rewarding.
Awesome. Thank you.
Question. Now go sweep the leg. Who's next?
How's it going, everyone? My name is
Pretty
Senior
good.
Master Velasquez, stationed here. I just know that I'll be moving to Okinawa in about 3 months, so I can't wait for that to happen. Like as mentioned before, this is very nostalgic. I'm very giddy about Cobra Kai and Karate Kid and all that. It's because of you, Ralph Macchio, that I took karate lessons as a kid. So Karate Kid 2 had one of my favorite action sequences of all time between Ralph and Yuji there, even to this day with all the CGI going on. But what kind of training did you guys do besides you know, the normal day-to-day karate? Was there any difficulty with the training?
Yuji, you want to?
Sure. Well, for me, I had talked about earlier, somebody asked me a question regarding that, and I had taken Chitoryu karate back in the Stone Ages. And, you know, when we do these fights and whatnot, yeah, there's a, you know, when we talk about choreography and the intent on the intent is not to hurt your fellow actors and stunt people, of course. So yeah, that's, I don't know, the basis for my training was a hard style. Chitoryu is a very hard style. So for me, when I came into when I got the role of Chosen, I had some sort of foundation, so that kind of stuck in my brain, so that helped me to transition and remember some of these things. So in that sense, it was very helpful to have some sort of training before.
Yeah, with me, I trained with Pat Johnson, who was he played the referee in the original Karate Kid film. And he trained me in the Goju style, the classic Okinawan style, me and Pat Morita as well. So that was always what I knew, the sort of working, the circular motions and all that, all what stems from the wax on, wax off, and those painting the fence blocks and all that kind of stuff, the sanding the floor. That is still part of what's ingrained in what I do. And actually, that's more so what I do best. I guess after 30 billion years, you get kind of okay at it. But more and more now, I am enjoying doing the katas and things. I have a lot more, even in season 4, that we're working on. and I'm excited. I think at this point in my life, I'm actually going to grab onto and hold on to it longer and for years and hopefully decades to come. Whereas back in the day, I did the movie. It kind of hurts sometimes. I said, okay, I'll find another hobby. But with Yuji, it never hurts. He knows he's got such great control. Those scenes were like little tangos, and we had a blast, for season 3.
Great question there. Thanks very much for participating. I think we have one more question there in Yokota. How you doing, sir? Welcome.
Hey, how you doing? Ohio gozaimasu, for my time. So, just like everybody else here, great nostalgia going on, Karate Kid 1, Karate Kid 2. You find Johnny's backstory kind of with this series, which whoever started writing all this, fantastic. I thought it was very, very good. My question is, with all of these movies, what is the biggest surprise bringing back all of the nostalgia all from the movies previous before this?
I think the surprise I'll just say for all of us, making the show is just how quickly all of the performers were able to get back in character. I mean, it's been a long time. We have the nostalgia for these movies, just like you do. And, so much so that we took our imaginations and started writing this very high-end fan fiction of where these characters are all these years later. And we went around town and we had to pitch the show to all these studios and networks and convince people to put up all this money to make the show. But these actors hadn't played these characters in so many years. So it was I remember our first time on set with Ralph and with Billy, and just seeing those two characters playing together, and immediately the chemistry that they had. It was, I think what you guys see on watching the show and feel that nostalgia, we had that front row seat, and it's continued as we've made more seasons of the show, whether it was bringing back the old Cobra Kai, Johnny's old Cobra Kai friends, to bringing back Yuji and Tamlin in season 3, and Elizabeth Shue, being on set and seeing all of these actors who we love playing these characters that we love, the way they were all able to jump back in, still embody the characters, but add those years of growth in between, and be convincing and be a pleasure to watch.
Thank you guys for those questions there, and Yokota. Really appreciate you guys. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thanks for participating in our MVP series.
Thanks, guys.
Guys, we got one more live location to go to, and this is kind of special. We're actually going to be going to a dojo, and I believe we're going to have some sort of demonstration happening. So if you guys would start your camera there at the dojo, and please join us. There you are. How are you doing?
All right. Hey, everybody. My name is Master Sergeant Mason Bergeron. I'm here live at the Uechi Kenyukai World Headquarters Dojo with the Grandmaster Shinjo Kiyohide himself. Kind of a unique story here. I grew up in the 80s. I was born in 81, and I did grow up watching your movies. But for some reason, I had to train in karate. And I ended up with an instructor that had lived in Okinawa in the 1960s. And he sort of motivated me and inspired me to someday go to Okinawa. Eventually, I found a way to get here, and that way was joining the United States Air Force. So I actually enlisted in the Air Force in hopes of coming to Okinawa. And I had found Shinjo Sensei at a seminar in California, and I said, Sensei, I'm gonna go to Okinawa and live with you and train there. And I did, but it took me 5 years to get here. So I had to pull a lot of strings, and I had to persevere and stay very motivated throughout that time. So in 2014, I finally ended up here at the dojo and was training with them since day one. Eventually, after 5 years, the Air Force made me move back to the States for 5 years, but I stayed motivated, and eventually I found a way to come back. And I've been back here now for 1 year.
Wow.
We are.
Tremendous.
Amazing.
Congratulations. I understand you guys have a demonstration for us.
Yeah, so this was not planned at all. This actually came up within the last day or two. We put this together so that we could bring you here and join, the cast of Karate Kid and Cobra Kai and do a little little something special for you. And we'll start with the questions if that's okay.
Sure. Absolutely.
So I had a few questions. One of them was throughout the Karate Kid movies and even the Cobra Kai series, the philosophical aspect of karate is captured very well, surprisingly. And I've always been curious what the source of that was. Was there somebody kind of teaching you about that or guiding you through that during the process?
For us, it goes back to the very first movie, which was written by Robert Mark Kamen, who was a student of karate, and he modeled the character of Mr. Miyagi in some ways on his own sensei. And we've become friendly with him over the years. Ralph knows him for a lot longer than we do. But it was very important from him early on that Miyagi's karate reflect the tenets of Goju-Ryu, and it be based on real karate, and kind of wasn't trying to be the most popcorn version of what a martial arts action could be at that point in the 80s, when there was a lot of explosive combinations of a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And we tried to honor that original intent as we move forward in terms of how the karate is designed on the Miyagi side, how it's designed on the Cobra Kai side. And at times those lines get blurred, but it's really, it's important to us to honor the intent and the experience of what this franchise started out as.
Right. Great. Well, you guys are putting it together. It's really awesome.
I understand you have a couple more questions there.
Second question, in Karate Kid Part 2, Chosen, you asked Daniel-san if his teacher taught him to fight with spear, and he says no, and you said too bad. So I'm wondering, did Sato teach you to fight with spear?
Well, since Miyagi-Do style was based off of Okinawan Goju-Ryu, they did have weapons like the bow and the kama, the nunchaku, the sai, which is what I use to stab the floor in front of Daniel's face. The tonfa, the shinai, which you guys know, which is the bamboo sword, and the boken, which is a wooden sword. The tanto, which is a short blade, and the wakizashi is a katana. So the answer to your question, yes, for Chosen.
Okay. Thank you. Last question for you guys that were in the Karate Kid series. Did you ever imagine that in 30 years, all of this would be resurfacing to where it is today?
No. I will say this much. I answered that quickly, no, because on one hand, I would say I never thought it would, I mean, some of it came from it being so precious to me and so respected, and how the Karate Kid film and the Karate Kid franchise had become bigger than even the actors in it, and the character, it just became a part of people's lives, a part of their childhood around the world. So it just felt to go back to that well would probably, the risk outweighed the reward, at least when I was hearing ideas that were, that would open that door. So I never thought it would find its way. I will say this much. I never felt ever, because I've walked in these shoes since 1984, that it wasn't relevant to somebody at some time. Like when someone says to me, oh, how do you feel now that for 30 years this wasn't around and now it's back? It was, listen, for me, it was always around. So it never went away. The relevance never went away as far as what it meant to people and what those films meant to people. But to come to the surface to tell new stories going forward, and with John, Josh, and Hayden, and all the writers and the collaborators on this show are able to do, and what we all do together, I didn't foresee that as something that was come to fruition. Certainly not at this level. So this is as sweet and as good as it gets.
Guys, thank you so much for those questions. I understand we have a demo.
everybody. Thank you so much from Okinawa, Japan, to the team Cobra Kai and to the USO. Arigatou gozaimasu. Sayonara.
Sayonara. Arigato. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
You guys are welcome at the All
Thank you
Valley
guys for
tournament
participating.
anytime.
I need to recruit a few of those folks.
Good day not to be aboard. I can tell you that. Very cool. Guys, you know, I can't thank you enough for joining us here on the MVP series. And Ralph, if you wouldn't mind, on behalf of the entire panel, giving some words of support and encouragement to our troops who are watching us.
Absolutely. Listen, this has been a joy for us, and it fills our heart and soul and minds to have the opportunity to send you all our love and support, and thank you for what you do every day for us. Wishing only happiness and health and safe return home from us to you. I thank you so much.
Well, we really appreciate you guys joining us today. And we are being joined by 15 installations across the Pacific region in Okinawa, Japan, Guam, and South Korea. Hayden, John, Ralph, Yuji, thank you so much. And Josh, and you can check in on future USO MVP sessions by going to uso.org/MVP. Guys, thank you so much. Congratulations on the continued success of Cobra Kai. And to everybody out there, stay safe, stay healthy, and we will see you on down the road.
Thanks, Chris. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.